Another story of darkness, of shadows, Zora. Another story of mystery and horror. Come here, my dear, by my side.
The cat. Instrument of evil. Pawn of the devil. Another story in the weekly series heard each night at this time. The forces of evil are everywhere. For in a man's heart and mind there dwells an endless conflict. Whether for good or evil. Whether for right or wrong. And how shall he know which is which until he must make the fateful decision? And now, the cat. Jabez sits before the fire in his library. The library filled with volumes written by his hand. Zora sits beside him as he pens this day's events. Another chapter in the latest addition to his chronicles of mystery and evil.
In a moment, Zora. A few more words. There, I'm finished. How else would I fill our shelves, Zora, if I did not write the day's events in our books? Yes, I know. I promised you something, Zora. I will keep my word soon. But first, the night is cool. And Carol, lovely Carol, lies in bed and thinks of me. Lovely Carol lying in bed, thinking of me.
Jabez. Jabez. Are you thinking of me tonight? Are you remembering? I never knew there was such a thing in all the world. A strange, irresistible force that draws me to you, Jabez. The knowledge. So deep in you. Mystery in your eyes. I want to understand you, Jabez. I want to understand this hidden, secret chord that brings us closer and closer to each other. You know, when I'm near you, my hands tremble, and my heart leaps. And I feel that strangeness, that... Oh, I sound like an overwhelmed child. It hit me so suddenly. Even Father doesn't understand. Father was angry about it this afternoon.
Carol, what do you know about him?
I know all I want to know. I know that he has some deep and strange attraction for me.
But who is he? What is he? Where does he come from? What does he do?
I don't know, Father, and it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. How can you feel this way about a man who's practically a stranger?
He's gentle with me and wise.
How old is he? He looks like he might be any age. When you look at him closely...
Jabez has had a hard life. He's seen a lot of the world, that's all.
Carol, child, there's something about him...
Father, you met Jabez just once.
Perhaps it's just my imagination, but I'm afraid for you.
Something wonderful. Something strong and deep and powerful in it.
I don't know what it is, but I want to know more about this man. I want to know more about him, and yet...
Yes, Father.
I'm afraid to know.
Oh, Father, what nonsense.
No, Carol.
You don't understand him the way I do, Father, that's all.
Carol, what about Phil? What will Phil...
Yes, I had to think about Phil. I was impatient with the thought. Phil should understand. Phil should remember that although we've grown up together and thought about marriage, and everything seemed settled, it was more a habit of being together than being in love. It isn't that I'm in love with Jabez. It's more that no longer feel the same way about Phil. But the way Phil took it puzzled me.
If that's how you feel, Carol, I won't stop you.
I knew you'd understand, Phil. This is something I have no control over. It just happened to me. Swept me off my feet. And
Don't you think he's a little old for you?
I'm not thinking of marriage, Phil. I'm just terribly attracted to Jabez. Besides, how old do you think he is?
I don't know. That's got me puzzled. He could be 60 and he could be 40. There's a look...
That's not very kind of you, Phil.
I'm only interested in your welfare, Carol.
Of course you are, Phil. But there are depths to Jabez that you don't understand. He's so alive, so clever, so... No, clever isn't the word. He's deep, as though he knows everything.
I'd like to meet someone who knows everything.
I thought Phil would have protested, would have told me how much he was in love with me and wouldn't let me go. But he didn't. There wasn't any unpleasantness. I got the feeling that there was something hidden in his acceptance of Jabez, as though he knew more about Jabez than I did. But that was silly. How could anybody understand the strong, deep attraction he has for me? Nancy's reaction to Jabez was just the opposite. You see, you can't trust a man's judgment about another man. Nancy is only our maid, but she's a woman. She put her finger on it right away.
Tell you, Miss Carroll, it's just that men don't trust other men who got personality.
Yes, Nancy, that's it.
Well, don't you worry, Miss Carroll. Your father will like him.
Oh, I hope so. Nancy, I'm worried about you. You haven't been looking well.
Well, it's just those dreams.
Are you still having them?
Oh, Miss Carroll, they've been getting worse. Last night I couldn't sleep at all. I kept seeing the eyes shining in the dark. Steady, staring at me, never blinking. Shining, big and shining. As if they was asking me a question.
Oh, poor Nancy, you're tired.
No, Miss Carroll. If only I could stop seeing them, looking them, asking.
Asking you what, Nancy?
But that's what I don't know. She sits all by herself in the middle of the dream, sitting on air. Her black tail curled around her, and her eyes steady, staring at me, into me.
And that's all, Nancy?
No, that's the way it was 2 nights before last. The eyes is always the same, but she changes her position. Night before last, she was walking in space, her tail flicking and her head turned to me without ever looking away.
How long does the dream last, Nancy?
Forever, it seems like. I try to shut my eyes to it, but I can't. Pretty soon I begin to get frightened. I try to wake myself up, but it's hard. Something keeps pulling me back into the dream.
Big cat, you say?
It's a giant cat, Miss Carroll.
Oh, now, Nancy, I think we ought to see Dr. Lacey about it. Perhaps it's something he can explain very simply, and you won't have those dreams anymore.
Well, it ain't only dreams now, Miss Carroll.
What do you mean?
I saw her.
Nancy.
Miss Carroll, I swear, I ain't one for fancies. I couldn't fall asleep last night. I was so worried. I lay in bed and tried to put it all out of my mind, but I couldn't. And my heart was going something awful. And then I was looking out the window. Something drew me to look there. And
Oh, Nancy, I think your imagination is running away with you.
Oh, no, Miss Carroll, no. She was there. The cat. She was sitting on the ledge. And her eyes looked straight at me, just like in the dream. Oh, Miss Carroll, I'm so afraid. I'm so
Well,
afraid.
if it'll make you feel better, I'll stay with you in your room tonight, Nancy.
Oh, would you, Miss Carroll? Would you?
Of course, Nancy. We'll soon put an end to those dreams of yours. Tonight, just before dinner, Nancy disappeared. When Jabez left, I thought Nancy would have started dinner, and I went into the kitchen. Nancy wasn't there. She wasn't in her room either. Couldn't find her anywhere. She just disappeared. We didn't get very upset about it because it had happened twice before. and Nancy had turned up the next day. Still, I was a little puzzled. Anyway, here I am in my own room, and I can't sleep. But it's because of something different than what troubled Nancy. This is something exciting. This feeling of great knowledge and wisdom, of dark secrets and fulfillment. Strange how he draws me to him. Jabez, where are you now?
You are listening to another chapter in our new mystery horror series, The Cat. And now, back to our story.
Well, Zora, as I promised, Nancy is waiting. I told you she'd be here, didn't I?
Mr. Jabez, I'm frightened.
Yes, Nancy? What is it?
The cat. That's the cat. Mr. Jabez, keep her away.
Listen to me, Nancy.
Yes, but keep the cat away. I'm afraid.
Patience, Zora.
Oh, you're a gentleman, Mr. Jabez. You promised to help me. That's why I came here. You won't let her hurt me, will you? You'll protect me.
Nancy.
No, please, Mr. Jabez, the cat.
Nancy,
No,
look
please.
at me. Nancy, why did you kill him? Don't you know you have no right to kill? You plunged a knife into his heart. Your husband, whom you had promised to honor and cherish.
How do you know?
How do I know? It's on your face, Nancy. It's in your eyes. Those things always stay in your eyes. Didn't you know that once you stepped into the shadows, there was no turning back?
I couldn't help myself.
While he was asleep, Nancy, while your husband lay in sleep, you went to the kitchen and found the bread knife and went back to his room. There were shadows in the room, and the moon came through the window. Did you think you could just forget about it? You're one of us now, Nancy. Forever.
Mr. Jabez, you promised to help me. You said you'd protect me from the cat. You said
I
you'd...
said I would make sure everything turns out right, Nancy. I'm going to keep that promise.
Don't let her touch me.
When you saw Zora in your dreams, it was the beginning.
No.
I don't want any misunderstanding, Nancy. I want you to know why you are here.
Oh, I swear, I'll give myself up. I'll tell the police. I'll take my punishment, but don't let that cat come near me.
You don't have to go to the police.
For your eyes.
Yes, Nancy.
You're not Mr. Jabez.
I'm not.
Your eyes. They're just like...
Nancy.
No, please.
Nancy. Nancy, look at me.
No, don't come near me. Keep her away. Keep her away.
All right, Zora.
Who's there? Father? Is anyone here? I saw a cat. I must have been dreaming. Thinking of Nancy. And the cat looking at me with green eyes. Never looking away, just looking straight at me. Huh? I must be letting Nancy's imagination get the best of me. Oh, Jabez. Jabez. I miss him so.
Well, Zora? Oh, you did? You enjoyed tonight's chapter? This is just the beginning, Zora. We did well with Nancy. But tomorrow I see wonderful things, Zora. For me and you and Carol.
Tomorrow night at this time, we will bring you the next chapter in this week's story of The Cat. Included